It was in Santiago where I first learned about forced disappearance, which is one of the human rights crimes that I focus on in what became chapter 1 of my dissertation. But I realized that once we work in coalitions that cross boundaries between art and literature and film and politics and anthropology and creative forms of all kinds, then there really was something that we could accomplish together.
You know, we live and breathe ideas as scholars. That's what we like to do. We love to teach, we love to build our fields, but we like to have time for our work, and we benefit from each other. So that was the idea, that we needed to have a kind of advanced study center where we could meet, where we could exchange work, where we could push each other to develop our own scholarship and our ideas, collaborating across the university. So that's how it started.
Well, it's had a major impact on my writing. The Engendering Archives group was my writing group. Having met with them over 5 years, they also became my intellectual community.
It's usually people come together like this in a conference or that lasts several days, or even like a short summer school for a week. But we envisioned 3-year working groups so that people could meet regularly, read together, read each other's work, have occasions in which to bring in outside speakers or create conferences, meet in different places around the globe using Colombia's global centers in order to deepen and broaden the conversation around certain topics.
Well, we have 2 research streams. One is imagining justice, and the other is women creating change. In our women creating change stream, one of the projects that I've been involved with, which I simply loved, was women mobilizing memory. It became one of our practices to do memory walks around the city of Istanbul, where we visited sites where sort of traumatic or important events had occurred. We did memory walks in Chile, we did memory walks here in our Harlem community. It's become an incredibly strong network.
The keywords really are create and change, because that is part of what the mission of the center is. It's not just to diagnose what's wrong, it's really to try to envision possibilities, alternatives, to envision an alternative future.
The center has definitely enhanced Colombia as an intellectual community. I think that it's been a way of finding and locating people in different parts of the university, encouraging them to come together and work together, really creating a sense of community, of thinkers who are engaged in intellectual projects, but they're projects that are also engaged beyond the academy, engaged in real world issues and questions, but providing the time for a kind of slow thinking about issues that might seem urgent, but that require time to think about and people to discuss those questions with. The center has been very important in creating that kind of space at Columbia.
I'm actually a grad student on the medical campus doing my master's in public health.
In my role as a bioethics student, what really drew me into this field at the start was the interdisciplinary aspects of it, and that's what brought me to this working group, because I really wanted to take what I learned in the classroom and apply it to meet people with so many different perspectives who have an important stake in precision medicine.
I can't really think of any other center that aspires to this level of kind of expansiveness. It's not just interdisciplinarily, by which I mean, an additive notion that we must have every school represented at the Center for the Study of Social Difference, but that somehow thinking interdisciplinarily while at the same time harnessing your own deep skills and scholarship might allow us to ask really big questions in much more robust, but I think also meaningful ways. And as I said, there's no place at the university that does this.
I think of the Center for the Study of Social Difference as having been born around the same time as the global centers, and we've actually worked together from the beginning. I've actually organized 4 conferences of working group meetings with the global centers, 3 in Amman and 1 in Paris.
I think what we often fail to do in the world is to recognize the differences. We focus so much on the similarities, and those are important to acknowledge, but the acknowledgement of the differences helps us then move away from a paradigm of assuming that what is important in one context is important in all contexts, or how we view things, say, in North America is how the rest of the world should view the same things.
The Women Creating Change Leadership Council is comprised of women and men who come from a variety of backgrounds as well as geographic locations. They have skill sets in public relations, in media, in the business world, in the legal world, with NGOs, and with government organizations. And the objective of the members of the council, our mission, is to ensure that this incredibly valuable research that's being done in our academic community has impact beyond the university and influences not only programs, but thinking on gender issues generally.
After becoming a fellow with the Precision Medicine Group, I was recently invited to a conference at the Yale Law School that was one of the high-profile conferences on cancer and policy. And there were people there, representative from the from the NIH, from the FDA, from the NCI, bioethicists, economists, and I had a seat at the table.
Center projects impact the university and the world beyond in multiple ways. One is that they're presenting another model to how to conduct research at the level of the university, which I think is the most exciting model available. But also, the work that we do here inherently engages problems, questions, communities that are not contained by the university. For instance, in our case, we are engaging events in Puerto Rico, but also in the Caribbean. And in our next set of projects, we're also engaging other countries, Greece, Argentina, Spain. And that grows organically from the work we do. When you start asking questions and you start putting them in a global context, like most of our work does, that inherently leads you to engage in conversations with people in, out, and beyond your immediate community.